Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Feature Length Podcast. My name is Marco.
I'm Carolina.
And I am Daniel.
This is a podcast where we talk about movies and TV shows and pretty much all that kind of stuff, normally for the length of a feature film. Most of the time, we talk about stuff that we really like. Today will not be one of those days. As you can tell by the title of this video, we're talking about the Friday the 13th franchise, but I guess specifically we'll probably focus on 1 to 4 because that's what, between the three of us, we probably know the most. Although this is definitely going to be a recurring thing, which we'll get into why it'll be recurring in a little bit. I have the most to say, history and context-wise, just to start it all off. So, like, Carol, I know you're kind of the newest to this. What, if any, history or context do you have with this franchise?
Yeah, so I'm a day old with this franchise. Obviously, I've heard about it. I feel like I learned the most about it from watching the movie Scream, to be honest. Kind of spoiled the ending for me, if any, but that's fine. Yeah, so I watched the first and second films just in the last day-ish, and that is all my experience. We'll talk about how I felt. I had a fun time, is all I'll say.
Good. Dan?
Yeah.
So about a year ago, on Friday the 13th, one fateful Friday the 13th,
It was a full
Marco
moon.
invited... Was it actually... Okay, apparently it was a full moon too.
Yeah.
I forgot a lot about that night. Marco invited me over, and our friend Angela was there too, as well. And we decided to watch the first 4 Friday the 13th movies. However, I was coming after work, and I was like late or something, so I never saw the first one, and I still haven't seen the first one. So my history, I guess, with this franchise is I've seen 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's it. Those 5 movies. That is my entire experience with Friday the 13th. And all of them were viewed by me on a Friday the 13th with Marco and Angelo.
Nice. That's the only way to view these movies, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So my history, and I guess the reason I invited Dan to do it, and how Carol has now got brought into this as well. I didn't really grow up watching a lot of slasher stuff or horror stuff in general. Like, I've gotten into that stuff more as I've gotten older. But for some reason, when I was like a kid, like not old enough to stay home alone, and I would go to my grandparents in the summer, I just have memories of it being like 2 p.m. My grandparents were out doing stuff, and I was sitting in like a room with a TV just by myself. And they would just have like Friday the 13th marathons on like Spike TV or some shit. You know what I mean? Just like marathons of like, for whatever reason. And I was a kid and I was like, all right, whatever. I've heard about this at school. And I watched these movies. Not all of them, because there are like 10 or 11 of them. I definitely saw the first one and the second one. I want to say I saw the third one, but then when we actually watched the third one, I was like, wow, I have no memory of this. So I'm pretty sure I only ever watched the first 2. And like, I've always just had that like fun summer memory associated with it. And then I had never seen a movie for a really, really long time. And as an adult, getting into horror movies and kind of going back and looking at a lot of classic horror movies, and, you know, obviously you can't do that without going back to classic slashers, I was like, cool, this might be a good time to watch Friday the 13th. And also, I'm a collector of Blu-rays and stuff, and I was like, nice, maybe I can put a nice little collection together. Yeah, and so that's how I kind of came to trying to get them all and watch them with Dan and Angelo, or really whoever would have. I mean, you know, Carol's out of town. So Dan and Angelo were the obvious choices, unfortunately. They got strung into this disaster. Yeah, just to echo what the other two said, I mean, like, these movies are really bad, but I enjoy them so much. Every single one of them has something, like, just a takeaway for me of, like, I can't believe this is even a movie. Like, that it has, like, this element in it. And then throughout the franchise, there are also, like, long-running, I don't even want to say inside jokes, but it's just, like, they are inside jokes between people that watch it, but it's, like, I can't believe they actually made those choices in the movies. So just some brief context here for Friday the 13th. And also, I'm just going to use this time now to vent and tell my story, okay? Because this franchise is a mess. This franchise, like, in terms of rights, was owned by so many different people throughout the, like, actual movies that me, the movie collector, I like to have a nice box set. It has been such a dilemma to get all these movies, okay? So when I first started off, you could get the first 2 in one Blu-ray pack, the second 2 in another Blu-ray pack, and then 5 and 6 in another Blu-ray pack. And then I'm pretty sure you had to do... Yeah, I think that was all you could get when I first started getting it. So I bought those. And I was like, you know what? We'll just watch the first 6. It's fine. Shortly after buying them, I'd say within 6 months, they released a Blu-ray collection that had the first 8 all in one Blu-ray pack with, like, bonus features and all that stuff. And I was like, well, I guess I have to buy that now. So I bought that. But then the only way to get Freddy vs. Jason, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, and...
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Well, not that. That one was...
Wait,
Jason
is that
Takes
one
Manhattan
real?
was... Oh, it is real, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Jason Takes
Is that
Manhattan.
in the pack? Is that
It's in the
included
pack.
then?
It's in the Blu-ray pack.
Oh, okay.
So the only way to get the last few ones was to get them on, like, DVD because they didn't have Blu-ray releases, like, separately. So I did that.
So primitive.
I did it. I was like, okay, so now I have the first 8, like, twice over because it's another pack. But I'm also going to get the DVD Blu-ray release. And then, like, 6 months ago, they finally released a proper box set with the entire franchise, including Freddy vs. Jason, including the reboot, everything on Blu-ray. Finally. The whole thing. So, my birthday is now coming up in a week, and that was my one request for my birthday, was that box set. I legitimately now own more copies of the Friday the 13th movies than any other movie. Like, some of my favorite movies of all time. Because the way they have released them has been so stupid. The way they've released them to be consumed is like the level of effort that went into making them. It's just like, what the hell? So, I am dedicated to watching this whole franchise, and I now own...
Them?
Did I keep them?
Are you gonna keep all of the, like, now doubles and triples? And...
Listen, I would love to sell them, but no one will fucking buy them off me. I have
So
tried to give them away at this point.
So how many discs do you have?
So it's the first 6, so it's 6. And then the first 8, so
already
6
too
plus...
many.
So 6 plus 8.
We're already at 14.
Which is 14.
Which is more than there are Friday the 13th movies.
Yes, plus the 2 DVDs, which is 16,
Yep.
plus the entire, I think, 12 pack of movies. So 16 plus
So
12.
28.
So I have 28 discs of various Friday the 13th movies.
Marco.
Yeah.
That's older than all of us.
Yeah.
It really is.
So that's my story with Friday the 13th. So guys, I just want to give you guys some context. So we can jump now in and start talking about the movie, right? But we were kind of talking about this. Carol had mentioned it when she was watching it last night. Like, wow, these movies are like shit.
Yeah.
And you thought they were like classics.
Oh yeah.
Were you, like, I'm probably not aware, but just to give some context, and then I will let you guys have the floor and actually start talking about the movies. But basically what had happened was it was like the boom of slasher movies, and I know Friday the 13th is kind of considered like one of the main slashers, but its creation was actually just like a rip-off. So, like, John Carpenter, like, super indie makes the original Halloween, which I just recently rewatched, and actually it does, like, hold up. Like, I mean, not hold up in the sense that it's scary, but, like, as a movie, it's like, oh, okay, this is, like, a well-made movie, whatever. And it was super low budget, and it did really, really well, and that's where kind of the slasher boom comes from in the 80s. And then, I forget the name of the guy, but the guy that, like, made all these... Because Friday the 13th had, like, a fucking Kevin Feige who was like, yes, like, this is my thing, and, like, I'm making all of them. I forget that guy's name, but whoever that guy was like...
I think that says a lot about his result, I guess.
Yes. He was like, I am going to make also a cheap slasher that's basically just Halloween. And he did. And that's the first Friday the 13th movie. And for some reason, it became just as popular. And for some reason, now this franchise has gone on to have as many, if not more, sequels and movies than the original.
You know what it's like? It's like looking at the MCU versus the DCEU.
Yes.
With Halloween versus Friday the 13th.
Yes. You know what
Not
else
that,
it's like?
I mean, Halloween went off the rails, of course, but at the beginning at least.
Absolutely. It's also like comparing Harry Potter to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, yeah. Or
like-
Twilight.
Or Twilight, of course, yeah.
That's a callback to a previous episode.
Yeah.
A great app. Highly recommend a re-listen.
It's a great app. So, guys, what did we think? Well, Dan hasn't seen it, so Dan, I'm sorry. Well,
No
but here's
I'm gonna have
the
to
thing.
sit
for the
this
next
one
10
out.
minutes.
The thing is, though, Dan has seen it because, like, to go back
Well-
to this
Oh, yeah.
franchise.
Talk about the reused footage.
Yeah, well, go for it, Dan. Like, you were the one that, like, I guess has benefited the most from it, so you can go ahead and talk about it.
Wait, what do you mean?
The reused footage. Oh, well, because you missed
Oh.
the first, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll just explain quick. It's like at least I think the first 4 movies have like they literally start with they start with 5 minutes of just credits on black screen, which is super boring. And then they get into like another 5 minutes of just the last 5 minutes of the previous movie. And all of these movies are like the minimum feature length. So it's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's 10 minutes already of just like nothing new. It's just credits and reused footage. So when I arrived at Marco's in time for Friday the 13th Part 2, the first thing we saw was like the last 10 minutes of the first movie. And I'm trying to remember. What I do remember is there's like this woman, I don't remember her name.
Mrs. Voorhees or the victim?
Right. Was that Jason's mother?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Jason's mother, and she's like haunted by the quote unquote death of her son, and then he jumps out of a lake.
Yep.
But also, her head gets cleanly chopped off with, I think,
Yes.
an oar? Not even, like, I don't remember if it was an oar or an axe or something, but either way.
I don't remember.
Head right off. So, that too.
Okay.
She's
And
dead.
then also, Friday the 13th Part 2 takes place weeks, if not, I think it's either weeks or literally days after Friday the 13th Part 1.
Yeah,
No, it's
and
5 years.
in the same location.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, like, okay, I just watched these. You have to trust me. It's
Okay.
5 years, and so they're going to this camp that's across the lake from Camp Crystal Lake, but it's also somehow a 5-minute walk away. Or I guess they share a lake. Maybe they didn't say across. Either way, it's nearby, and everyone in town is like, shouldn't have opened up a new camp. Don't want you here. It's been calm
Yes, I
ever
do remember
since.
that.
There hasn't been campers, so it's been a few years.
Okay. I was just going to say, it's surprising how quickly Jason turns into a man.
Yeah.
Because he was a deformed child.
child.
Like, not just a child, but like a sickly, I've been living under the water.
Yeah,
Child.
we'll get to
Like
this. We'll get
zombie
to this.
child, really.
Yeah. So,
Jumping back though,
Yes.
for the first movie, I don't have any more knowledge to give for this one, so I'll let you two take the reins for this first movie. All right.
Oh boy.
so what I'll say is this about the first movie. I think Kevin Bacon is in it,
He is.
and
Not for
You
long.
think Kevin Bacon is in it?
his kill, the way they kill him was okay. I was like, oh, that's a cool effect.
Eh.
And then I think that's all I remember from the first movie.
Honestly, I think because I went into this not knowing much other than what I learned from Scream is that the killer in the first movie is Jason's mother, and then going forward the killer's Jason. That's all I knew. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect. I saw the runtime, and I was like, that's interesting. I saw all the counselors, and I was like, there's like 10 of these guys. How is everyone going to die in an hour and a half? And you know what they did?
They definitely did.
Yeah, somehow the movie still had 20 minutes of no one dying and them just hanging out. They're probably the horniest group of children I've ever encountered. But then at the same time, despite the fact that everyone managed to die within an hour and a half, no one actually discovered a dead body until over an hour into the film, which
Yeah.
blew my mind. Like, everyone was just living unaware of the fact that everyone around them was dying somehow. And yeah, I don't know. And I read a bit about it and no actor was like a big actor because they wanted to make it for so cheap. And so I couldn't remember anyone's name. Everyone was super forgettable, just an
They're
average
nobodies.
looking
Yeah.
person. I like kept trying to remember the names. I tried so hard, but I couldn't. One was like a guy with a hat. One was a guy who like wore a headdress. I don't know. And there was Kevin Bacon, the only person I could remember, and I don't even know his
Yeah.
character's name.
I don't either.
But yeah, I don't know. Just everything was either someone having sex or someone dying or someone having sex and dying. Someone had sex and then was stabbed from the ground through the mattress into the heart.
Yep.
Like I truly don't know. It felt like a fever dream. Like also because I watched it alone, I couldn't be like laughing about it with people. I was just like, this is a real film that has turned into 20 more films.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is just having sex and dying, and it's an hour and a half, and then it's over. I couldn't believe. And the slow motion.
I think
that
you're giving it
randomly
too much
happens
credit.
Sometimes. Sorry, Dan. What?
I just want to say you're giving it too much credit when you say an hour and a half, because that implies 90 minutes.
True.
Yeah, it's not.
It really
It's like baseline. How much content can we fill up to get like a feature length film?
Yeah.
It felt like a blink. Like I started it and then I ended it, and somehow everyone was dead. I truly couldn't tell you though what happened. I have notes, but they're all just like question marks and exclamation points, and like I don't even know what they mean, some of them. Also, I have a pet peeve. I don't know if this is even... We didn't have a plan for this. We're just, like, talking about all the movies however we can. So I'm getting as much as I can say in now before we get to 3 and 4, which I haven't seen.
It's just, like, to be clear, there is no way to talk about these movies with a plan. You just... Because there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's fitting that we don't have a structure for this, because I feel like the series doesn't have a structure.
Exactly.
There's
So,
no
hey.
way it does. But
No.
in the first film, you missed them playing Strip Monopoly, which I think
Ha-
is really important.
Okay.
Good call. I remember that.
And every time, I don't know if this was in the script or what, but every time they rolled the dice, they read out the number, and it was never the number that they rolled, and you could clearly see on the dice what they had rolled. So it was like clearly a 3. And she goes, double sixes, I go again. And so that's just a pet peeve I had to air out because I
Oh my
couldn't
God.
handle it.
I can't believe I don't, like, remember that. What the hell?
Yeah, I wrote it down in my notes because I was like, you
That's
couldn't
great.
have, like, I don't know, had some weighted dice, or like, did what you roll really matter? You couldn't have just had the actors read what it truly was, or like just make
Wait,
it
I have
so
a
that
question.
You couldn't see the dice.
Do you remember, like, from what you remember, when they said the number, like, was their face visible on screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, it would have been really funny if they, like, VO'd the
Yeah.
wrong number,
Yeah, there was...
which I wouldn't put it past.
I was just gonna say, in my head, it was like, they rolled the dice and there was a cutaway to the dice, and then they cut back and said the wrong
Yeah,
number.
that's what I'm imagining.
But, like, I know, there's no way that they bothered to film a cutaway of dice. It was probably just whatever was in the take, like...
No, just there were 3 people at the table. It was a wide
Yeah.
shot of the table and the board and the dice, and it was just that the whole time.
Beautiful.
Basically. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, I do think, like, this movie... It's weird because it kind of has, like, a nice retroactive twist. Like, I can't imagine it coming out and being anything special. I don't understand why this movie came out and people liked it the way they liked Halloween or the way they like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, there's nothing special about this first one. But, retroactively, obviously Jason goes on to become the face of the franchise, and that becomes such a pop culture thing that, like, it's kind of interesting to watch the first movie and then have his mom be the killer, because it's like it's like a twist that only works after the rest of the franchise has come out in a way, and it's literally the only interesting thing about this movie is like, that's like, oh, it's not Jason, that's funny. But, like, once you know that, there is nothing else to this movie that warrants a watch. Like, not that the kills are awful, or not that, I don't know. I always feel dumb, like, talking about the kills in a movie. Like, oh, this movie had good kills. But, like, at least if there's creative special effects work, like, that's something. But like you said, like, a lot of the kills in this are lame. I think there's even some off-camera kills, if I remember correctly, where like people are just dead.
Yeah, but like if they are, they'll be like hanging from the back of a door or something. So like you'll see something cool later, I guess. But
it's also just like I think about, again, like to go back to Halloween, which I don't even mind comparing it because it is a ripoff. So like fuck you, you are gonna get compared to the thing you tried to rip off. Like that first Halloween movie, while not necessarily scary in the way a modern film is scary, there's still some like weird inventive things that happen in that. Like I'm thinking of one kill in particular where like Laurie's friend is on the phone with her and then like Michael Myers comes up behind her and I'm pretty sure he uses like a bed sheet to strangle her or something, and it's like it's really like visceral and like well put together and interesting, and with the exception of like the only thing that sticks in my head as them actually trying to do like a neat effect is the Kevin Bacon one, but even that, it's like there's like a cutaway and they cut back and there's a really obvious prosthetic and like they didn't even bother to like color grade it correctly to his skin tone, and it's like oh my god, I can't believe that.
But even like in some cases they showed like really close up slitting someone's throat and it straight up just looked like rubber.
Yeah.
Like I know at the time it was probably like very cool, and even like in reviews people were like it's gruesome and super realistic, and obviously we're coming to see this 40 years later, so obviously we're like this is not realistic at all. But I just couldn't, like every time someone died I laughed out loud and I felt really bad. My roommate was like, aren't you watching horror movies? And I was like, not really.
Not really.
I can't explain it, but no.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like with a lot of those other early slasher franchises, or even like I watched Psycho recently, which is like from the original wave of slasher stuff, and even though it may not be as gory, the kills come off as more of like visceral.
Yeah.
Just because like the way they're shot and edited and like put together with music is, I don't know, it's better. Like all of Michael Myers kills, all of Norman Bates kills, whatever, all that stuff is way more interesting. And in this, it's like they really went for like the special effects, gory stuff, but it's not up to par at all, and it completely fails, and it's just funny.
And on that note, I just want to say I just looked up. Like I was under the impression that this movie came out in like the late 70s, like the first Friday the 13th. I just found out it came out in 1980.
Yeah.
And the previous year, Alien came out, which had far better prosthetic effects. So I feel like that's not even an excuse.
No.
Like the time period.
Dude, Star Wars came out before this.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, gory stuff,
sure,
Alien is a good reference, but yeah, you're right.
Like,
I mean,
there's no reason other than they were clearly just trying to do an even cheaper Halloween, but Halloween is literally an indie, like, it was a low-budget indie film, and they're like, nah, like, we're gonna take it even lower, like, it's gonna be even more low-budget.
Student film.
Yeah, this is a student film.
It does feel like it.
It really does. Like, a really bad, like, not like an actual student film, like, we're horny college students, and, like, we're just gonna rent equipment and, like, whatever. This is just an excuse to all hang out. Student film.
But at the same time, like, it makes me feel nostalgic, like, for that reason, despite the fact that I've never seen it before, and it's, like, very bad, and even the dialogue doesn't seem human sometimes. I still... It makes me want to be, like, camping with my friends.
I think it doesn't... The dialogue is off because it was probably written by, like, a middle-aged, like, executive trying to write, you know, teen dialogue.
Probably.
I just want to point out something really funny. Like, I know we've already talked about this, but when Dan came to watch the second movie, and the second movie starts, and it's 10 minutes of footage from the first movie, and then as the second movie's going on, we're explaining to Dan the plot of the original movie, and at one point, either Angela or I references Kevin Bacon. And Dan laughs because I don't think he actually thought it was Kevin Bacon. And then we were like, no, like, literally the actor Kevin Bacon was in that movie. And Dan was like,
I had no idea.
What the fuck?
He wasn't even the main character. You didn't miss much.
I know, it's so funny.
This must have been his, like, very first thing, right? It had to have been.
I think so.
I think they said they got him off of a soap or something. Like, apparently all of the actors from the first movie just had, like, minor appearances in soap operas. So they, like, were quote-unquote actors, but not really.
So, like, probably first movie then.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it any other way.
Why else
with the
would you
budget
do it?
that they had.
Yeah. 100%. Is there anything else worth talking about with this first movie?
I truly.
Oh, I mean, we should talk about the end.
Yeah, well, yeah, so...
Unless you want to just talk about it at the beginning of part 2, is that what we were planning?
Well, we can just talk about it now and then also talk about it again at the beginning of our...
Okay.
Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah, so the ending, like we kind of referenced, right? Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mom, is the killer.
Yes.
And then there's like a final girl, and there's a whole final girl fight sequence, quote unquote, which
It's
ultimately
not that long.
it's not. And also, like, Carol, you're bringing up like almost feeling nostalgic. Like, I definitely have nostalgia for seeing these as like a kid, like during
Yeah.
summer break, 2 p.m. should not have been watching it type thing. And yeah, I in my head I remember this being like such a like a fucking battle. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, like this is like Pamela versus whatever the last girl's name was.
I don't even know.
And
she was in the second movie. I feel so bad.
I know. And then it's not. And it's straight up just not that. And she pretty easily dispatches of her, like literally cuts her head off.
Yep.
And
It
she goes in a
flies.
boat. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Oh yeah. She gets in a boat. She flows out into the river. She wakes up on the river on a nice sunny morning.
I also can't
And-
believe that she kills someone and then thinks, I'm gonna canoe now. That's
I
what
know.
I need to do. But, you know.
But
you
she
do
does.
you.
And then
She just needed to clear her head.
Yeah.
All right?
And then for no reason, Jason, who is apparently a fish zombie, jumps out of the water and grabs her. And then, but isn't that when she like smash cut wakes up at the hospital and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I didn't get. And yeah, we'll talk about it in the second film, but like
Okay.
that's a trend. But yeah, so you think that she dreamt it. Obviously, now that we know that there's 20 other films, she didn't dream it. But yeah, so she's in this canoe and someone jumps out and attacks her, and she wakes up in the hospital and she's like, what happened to the boy? And they're like, there was no boy, obviously. And so she just stares straight into the camera and says, so he's still there. And that's it.
and that's Friday the 13th part 1. And I think it also just goes to show like how little they cared about it, and they never thought they were going to make another one, that like the ending makes no sense.
Truly. I think
The
I wrote
only-
that wasn't originally even in the script. They just like decided to add that later on.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
Of course.
Of course. So, something funny or not funny, but I'm going to give this franchise one positive thing. And it starts in this
Okay.
first movie. I'm not going to point it out, and then we can talk about the second movie. Is just, they actually did a decent job, I thought, with, like, the Jason theme music.
Yeah.
Like, the Friday the 13th theme music. I was like, oh, this is like a recognizable theme that then gets brought back throughout the series. And it's like the bare minimum, but I was like, okay, you can
I
have
will
that.
give them that for sure.
Yeah, good on you.
Even when it started, I was like, okay, I know these noises. I get
Yeah.
it. I've heard it. I get
Yeah.
that. That's one thing.
I'd probably recognize it, but I can't remember it right now. It's been a while. But it's probably something that I've heard a million times over and
Yeah.
like never knew that it was from
Yeah,
this series.
it is kind of just like horror thing, but like you would know, like if you heard it, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's like in the Friday the 13th movies. So, yeah, so that's Friday the 13th, part 1. Very
Yeah.
good.
Was it actually released as like part 1 in the title?
No.
No. And it wasn't even going to be called Friday the 13th initially. It was going to be called something Camp Blood. But
Oh, very
you
good.
know.
So that we move on to Friday the 13th part 2. And I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta be totally honest here. As a kid, this movie had my favorite beginning of... Well, I guess I'd
You
only
mean
seen like 2 or...
the replay of the last film.
Not the replay. For some reason, I don't
Oh, the
remember
real
that.
beginning?
And I truly think when they did like the Spike TV marathons, I think they just cut that out.
Honestly, fair.
That would make sense.
Because they're playing them one after another. Because all I remember is, like, the first movie ends, and I remember, whatever, being a kid and being like, oh, okay, that's Friday the 13th. And then the second movie starts, and you get, like, part 2, or chapter 2. No, it's part 2. You get part 2, and then I just remember that, like, the tying of loose ends of the girl from the first movie hanging out at her house or whatever, and then Jason coming to kill her. And I was like, oh, like, and even still, as stupid as everything is, I think that's like a decent cold open to the second movie. That's a compliment, I'll say. And like, is that I think it's a good enough way to introduce what this movie is going to be, and like the rest of this movie is just the same thing, like the same formula. But the idea that like the girl that escapes from the first movie, like Jason has now shown up because of the death of his mom and like kills her, and like you immediately, because that was another problem I had with part one, was, and you pointed out, Carol, like the movie's short and the killings don't start until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it is, like, nothing. There's nothing, there's not even anything remotely, like, horrific.
Well, no, I'll say the killings start, like, 30 minutes in, and then they're kind of just one after the other. But they never interact, so, like, you don't really feel stressed, because none of the other campers know
Sure.
that they're happening.
Well, and also, like, I think, obviously, like, a big part of the first movie is the mystery of who's doing the killings. Mm-hmm. But I really like that the second movie starts with Jason, he's here, I'm gonna fucking kill everyone. It's just, it's like a cool, I can't believe I'm about to make this analogy, but it's like at the beginning of Infinity War when Thanos beats up the Hulk, and you're like, okay, like Thanos, like this is what Thanos is all about. That is the only way in which they're similar. Nothing about
No, I know what you're saying. It's like establishing like how intimidating your antagonist is.
100%. And I like that it directly ties into the end of the first one, because there's not a lot of continuity in these movies, but that's one thing where I'm like, okay, cool, this is a direct sequel. And obviously as a kid, or even like now watching them back to back, okay, I get it. Like, that was the girl, she's dead. Jason's here, he's gonna fuck shit up. And then the movie is just a disappointment after that.
I don't know, I had fun with it. Also, if I'm being honest, though, because after watching the first one and seeing the quality, I was like, you know what, I think I get it. Like, normally, I take this podcast very seriously. I watch, I take pages of notes, I do research, but I watched the first Friday the 13th, and I was like, listen, if I watch any more, this is on in the background, I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
So now that you've given your little prelude, I was not paying enough attention, and apparently I didn't see Jason kill her, because I was like, okay, it starts with her in the flashbacks, I get it, I saw her parents were worried, whatever, and then I apparently tuned out completely because I didn't know she died, and I was going to ask why she didn't come back in the rest of the movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's because
Marco watched the director's cut.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah, thanks for filling me in.
I'd also just like to point out, and I guess this is just like to what this franchise is, and again, as a kid, I was kind of shocked by this, right? But we don't get Jason in the hockey mask until part 3. Like, this movie is Jason with the sack face, which I don't even,
And that's
I think is like
only like halfway. Like, at some point, he doesn't have a sack over his face.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me that what we consider the iconic Friday the 13th movie doesn't even happen until part 3. Like, part 3 is the first, if you ask someone, like, what a Friday the 13th movie is, they would describe anything from part 3 beyond. Like, the first 2 are nothing like that, and yet they've kind of set up the whole franchise. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that being said, part 2, out of all the ones I've seen, is still my favorite one.
Yep.
As in, like, I mean, I can't really make judgment on which one is the actual best movie, because they're all shit, but I mean, like, in terms of which one I enjoyed the most, definitely part 2. It was just a really fun time. Yeah. And I also just want to mention, this is completely unrelated, but Marco is wearing a Friday the 13th t-shirt right now.
I am.
Which I just realized. I just want to say that is, like, excellent dedication considering this is an audio podcast.
It was more for me.
Yeah.
It was to get
Good
into the
on you.
mental state. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And also, I only wear this shirt if we're watching the movies or talking about the movies.
Why?
When am I going to wear this?
I don't know. It's cool. It shows you're, like, hip.
With a 40-year-old...
I don't think he wants anyone to know that he owns 28 discs of Friday the 13th.
I don't think he has to say that while wearing the shirt. That
Well,
would
it's
be a
gonna
secret.
come up inevitably, you know.
Look, I'm just putting this out there. If anyone listening to this podcast wants a copy of these movies, I will literally give them to you for free. I can't get rid of these fucking movies at this point. They're
We're giving them
multiplying
away to the
in my
first-
cabinet.
Especially since they're
first
all on
10
streaming.
listeners.
Well, I know, but you know me. I need my physical media.
I
I'm a
know.
physical media.
I know
kind of person.
you, but that's why I'm saying
I'm
you're
the
never
same.
getting rid of them.
Yeah. I will never get rid of them. It's my cross to bear, man. They're just I'm gonna have them with me for the rest of my life. I agree with you, Dan. I think this is still my favorite out of the ones we've seen, and I think it goes to, but to be clear, like everything after the flashback, like the flashback is so stupid and it's such a bad way to start the movie. But
Oh yeah,
For me in my
but that
head,
becomes a mainstay for each movie. So I mean,
Yes.
you can write that out pretty much.
100%. For me, in my head, it's from that intro scene of her at the house to the end of the movie. And I just think it's the most streamlined. And even though Jason isn't wearing his costume, like his classic costume or whatever, it feels the most like, oh, cool. Like, this is the movie we're making and this is what we're doing. And there's not a lot of, like, useless... I mean, it's all useless, but there's not a lot of, like, extra useless stuff happening. It's like, you get your nice little cold open, you get introduced to the characters are there, the killings happen. It is
Which I think like it's good for this series because like who fucking cares?
Yes.
It's Friday the 13th,
I'm with you,
which
yeah.
I think is why it's the best.
I
And also, I just want to say this is like a really minor thing, but maybe one of the contributing factors for why I like this one the best is because I like I guess the production design. I like the look of the campsite. It's not related to the plot or anything, but I felt like cozy whenever there were scenes in like the cabins or whatever.
yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. This one I think is one of the better campsites in the series, for sure.
Well, they did move
Yeah,
camps. It
so-
makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't see the camp in the first one though, so I wouldn't know.
It looked like shit.
But even compared to
Yeah.
like the following sequels, where it's like part 3 is like in a barn, I think if I remember correctly. I don't even remember part 4, like where that took place. It was like a
Oh.
trailer
Is that
park or
someone's
something.
House or something?
It's at Tommy Jarvis's house, Dan. How could you forget Tommy Jarvis?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about that down the
Yeah,
line
yeah.
then. So yeah, I mean the production design. Well, production design in terms of location, I'll say.
Yeah, location
Pretty good,
scouting.
this
They
one.
did a good job.
Yeah. They did a good job of looking for a place that was already built and saying, we're going to film there.
Yeah. Is this the one that ends with the girl pretending to be Mrs. Voorhees or no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, this is 100% the best one then, right? Like,
Yeah.
from start to...
That's funny. I was going to say no, but like, because I just forgot, I guess. I trust you more because
Yeah.
you just
Yes,
watched it,
I
Carolina.
promise.
This is easily the best one then. It has the cool intro. You quickly get to the campsite. The campsite's cool. The kids are dying. Jason's got his little hideout. And, like, the final girl finds Pamela Voorhees' thing at his hideout, which is cool production design. There's, like, the dead body.
Oh, is that this
Oh,
one?
Yeah.
That's her. I was like, what is that?
I was trying to remember
face?
which movie that
It
was
a
from.
little
Yeah.
deformed by then. Got it.
And then she takes the sweater off, uses the sweater to pretend to be Pamela. 100%. This is the best
Right.
one. It's the most... Not only the most streamlined, it's the most creative production design-wise, and it also is the most, like, paced like a movie and, like, has, like, movie things in it. Like, it has actual movie plot, like, elements and
Feats.
A little
characters,
bit,
like,
yeah.
grow... Like, not grow, I don't want to say grow, but they, like, learn
They don't
stuff.
grow.
They definitely don't grow.
Like, yeah, she doesn't grow, but she like puts it together. She's like, oh, his dead mom, and I look like her.
Well, she was the one character who kind of knew what was up. Like, throughout
Yeah.
the whole movie, she was like, but what if he is around? And if he is, like, he doesn't even know what death means, and yada yada. So, like, she got it the whole time. Everyone else, your usual bunch of idiots,
Yeah.
which was...
Wasn't this the one with the dog?
Yes!
Was there a
Who
dog in
came
this one?
back at the end! The dog came back. I
What was the
laughed
dog's
so
name?
hard.
I can't remember.
Oh, God, I do not remember.
I'm only asking because
It was something cute.
we didn't even mention yet. Yeah, we didn't even mention yet that when Marco Angelo and I watched these, we looked up a drinking game.
Oh, no.
And one of the points was like take a shot whenever blank is on screen, and it was a name, and we were like, this is coming up a lot in the drinking game. Like, who is this person? And when we got into the movie, we're like, oh, it's the dog.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the name.
I can't either.
I'll Google it.
Also, while Carol's Googling that, this was the time I literally almost died playing a drinking game because I, like, choked on a shot.
Muffin.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Oh, Muffin, you're right.
It was Muffin.
Right.
So, yeah, we're watching this movie, we're playing a drinking game. I, like, choke on a shot and, like,
You
burn
took a
my
shot?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And, like, burn my throat. I'm like, and then even just breathing, like, hurt. I was like, ugh, like, I can't, like, fuck. But, still, this is the best movie, even though I almost choked while watching it.
Even though he almost died. It was very visceral.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, in this movie, it started with the first two camp counselors showing up to town and calling their friend who pretended to get their car towed, which was insane to me, because then they chased the car, like, all the way down a whole street and around the corner, and then it was revealed that it was their friend the whole time. And I was like, how did he know that they would chase it all the way to then see that it was him? Like, what if they just didn't chase
Right.
it around that corner? They just would have thought their car was towed. It's so ridiculous. And this one had a guy in a wheelchair. I feel like that was pretty progressive for a movie made
yeah.
in, what, 81, 82? Whenever it came out?
Yeah, I was expecting them to, like, tastelessly use the wheelchair aspect in a kill.
I mean,
Something.
when he died, his wheelchair went down, like, 3 flights of stairs.
Oh, okay, I don't remember
It really
that.
did. Okay, no, his death, this is going to sound horrible, but his death was the funniest because he got hit machete to the face, and then his wheelchair went down all the flights of stairs, and as it was still going down the stairs, there was a hard cut to 2 people climaxing. I swear to God, I could not make this shit up.
Yeah,
I
you're
almost
right.
started crying.
I don't remember any of that.
And this poor actor, his photo on IMDb is of him with a machete in his face. From this film.
I'm looking that up right now.
It's bad.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
But yeah, I was trying to like look more into to see if like he actually used a wheelchair, because then that'd be even more progressive, or if they just wanted the wheelchair to like have it go down the stairs. I don't know. But yeah, that was something memorable from these films. That wasn't just the usual killing of the campers.
Oh,
Did you
man.
find the photo, Dan?
Yeah, you're totally right.
It's brutal.
It's just a like shitty screen grab
It's so bad.
from the movie.
Could you imagine that just being like your photo?
He was in other things. Why didn't they take a picture from any of the other movies?
No. Maybe this is his biggest role. But even like
That's
he was
depressing.
in other things in this. Like he had a love interest in this film. They sat and played games. There were many other screen grabs they could have gotten where he looked perfectly fine, and they used that.
So, anything left to say about part 2?
How does it end again? Oh, we talked about the shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember something else on the lake though. Wasn't it like sort of a repeat of the first one?
She like,
Or am I remembering something completely
well, I
different?
think she like wakes up, looks into the house, and then I'm pretty sure like Jason is in the house without his mask on, like looks out the window or whatever, and then she's like, ah, and then Jason starts to like try to get out of the house to chase her, and then I think she gets in a rowboat and leaves, but I don't remember what happens after that.
I did just watch this yesterday, and I remember that because Jason like cuts her leg, and then her like boyfriend, the lead counselor, comes to save her, and they get in a cabin, and then I remember thinking that they were gonna have Jason come back, but it ended up being the dog. But I also then do remember it did end with her like being attacked by Jason again, and similar thing, being in the hospital or waking up somewhere safe and being like, where's Jason? And people were like, that never happened.
Yeah, that's
I don't
right.
know if she went on the water though.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's just like Jason like comes out of the house to get her, and then she like wakes up, like another smash cut to wake up
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it was another weird smash cut where she was like, he attacked me again, and everyone was like, no, he didn't. But obviously he did, because he comes back again somehow.
Yeah.
Although this movie did have a probably, I mean, I've only seen 2 now, so it was fun to see women be objectified more. When the girl lost her dog, she's like, I'm gonna go look for it, and then didn't find the dog, but was like, I'm just gonna get naked and go swimming instead. And she did.
Yeah.
And there was like a dude who, like, in the first scene where she was introduced, throws a rock at her butt or something. He had one of those, you know, those things with like the rubber bands and the 2 sticks, and you can,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember
Slingshot?
what they're called. Yeah, he slingshotted a pebble at her butt because she was, of course, wearing shorts that were basically underwear. And he kept trying to flirt with her the entire movie and was like offended when she wouldn't flirt with him back. And then after she goes skinny dipping, he steals her clothes and ends up getting caught in like a bear trap. And then when she goes to find someone to get him down, or like a knife or something, he gets killed. So like
Yeah.
at least that happened. But that was a weird dynamic. All of the flirting and pairings in these films are always so bizarre to me. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, as far as I remember, every female character is written to be like ditzy. Every male
Yeah.
character is like is like an incel or something. And then or there's the camp counselors, which are sometimes good-hearted.
Yeah.
That those are like your 3 pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah, or there's always like couples that came to be counselors together somehow. So they're always trying to find a place to sneak off and have sex and obviously die.
Yep.
Because you die every time you have sex. I don't know.
It's like when a bee stings someone, like that's their death sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say about this film.
I don't think we have anything else to say about this one. yet.
Okay, part 3. Do we want to talk about... Well, Carol... So this marks the end of Carol having seen the movies.
Yeah, but I'm excited to learn. Tell me everything I missed.
So, Dan, I'm going to need your help on this one, buddy.
Okay.
Because all I remember about part 3 is that it's the exact same movie. It ends in a fight in a barn house. You're right.
How did they get to a barn?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. This one is like the barn is there's not a camp in this one. They stay at like a farm.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't even remember. It's like this little like rural homestead with like a barn and a farmhouse and whatever.
Right.
Maybe they banned
Don't
camping
remember
on that
why.
lake or something. They learned their lesson.
I feel like there's a movie that goes back again
Oh,
there
God,
though.
Of course there is.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Go on though.
Yeah, so outside of that, this is the movie where Jason gets his mask, his classic Halloween, or not Halloween, his hockey mask. So that's cool. That's something that happens in this movie. He gets his...
It's something.
He gets his look. And then, look, as we referenced earlier, and I cannot stress this enough, and I don't know, listen, I've only seen it the one time, and it was the one Blu-ray that I had. Now that I'm going to get this box set of new Blu-rays, maybe I should just double check. But
Double check.
there was shit on the screen the entire time. And not like in a tiny corner somewhere. I mean like literally like where the camera is focused, there will be like a black spot on the
I
screen.
truly can't believe
Or
that.
like dust or like hair or something, and it was like far enough into the screen that it was moving towards where like the people or the object of the shot was. It was so distracting.
Yeah.
It might have been like maybe even like a damaged lens. I don't know.
I don't know either. And the thing is, like, again, I don't want to, like, if it is just happens to be the transfer that I had on that one Blu-ray, like, whatever, I'll report back. Next time we do an episode on these movies, I will double check the third movie on a new Blu-ray disc and let you know what I find. But yeah, I don't understand it, and truly it was so distracting that I don't remember what happens. Like, I know it's just the same movie. Like, this is the quintessential, like, boring, formulaic Friday the 13th movie. It's, they go to a thing, Jason shows up and he kills them. There's nothing interesting. There's no, like, interesting thing about, like, the last one at least had some cool elements to it. This one has nothing new. It's all the same, except Jason gets his hockey mask now, and he's Jason. And that's literally all I remember about this movie.
And one more note about the shit on the lens. It also could have been. It's possible it could have been something in post because it was like obviously on film at the time. So maybe like analog film. So maybe it was like something in the development process or like damaged film
Could be.
that was used for the Blu-ray transfer. I don't know. That's another possibility.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe it wasn't in the production stage.
You know, actually, because I didn't watch it, I have it on muted on Prime right now. Leaves Prime in 4 days. By
Are you
the
seeing
way.
it?
Okay.
And I don't see any shit on the lens, so I think it might have been a Blu-ray thing. But Prime looks okay, unless I'm just less easily distracted. But I don't think I see anything.
Try and go to a scene where there's like it's like sunlight. Like at the start of the movie, I think they spent some time in like daylight because they're going to someone's house to like bring them on the trip.
Yeah.
They're like, "Come on the trip." It's like, okay.
Okay, there's a van with carpets on the doors.
Yeah.
And so they are outside, but I don't think I see anything. So sorry, Marco. Hopefully your new copy's better.
I'll have to check. I will literally this Saturday, and you guys are listening to this on Friday the 13th. Saturday the 14th, my birthday. I'm gonna open up that fucking box set. I'm gonna put in the part 3 disc, and I'm gonna see if there's shit on the screen still.
They smoke so much weed in these films.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Are
they
you
have
disappointed that you're gonna have to make the third one the first one you watch?
I am, because the
Like
third
the
one
inaugural watch.
I think is probably my least favorite because there's just nothing about it. Like it's so nothing that there's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing in particular to laugh at. It's just like the most nothing out of all the movies. Like the first one, Kevin Bacon, hilarious. Kevin Bacon's in this fucking movie, and like there's the twist at the end. Second one, legitimately like probably the best out of all of them in terms of like cool story elements. This one has nothing. Like it is. They just shit it out because they needed another sequel, and the only thing it adds to the franchise is the hockey mask, which sticks and is funny. But yeah, that's it. That's all there is to this movie.
Yeah, I do remember. I think the one thing I actually remember, like even vaguely about this one, is the kill at the end is kind of cool. I thought with like, I don't know if you remember this, Marco, but they were in the barn for this final
Oh, yeah.
kill, and you know how like every barn has that like hook, like a crane that you use to move hay bales and stuff onto the top. Is it starting to come back to
Yes,
you now?
I do remember this now. Yeah.
So I think it's like the hook was used to like stab Jason.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
Fun.
pretty sure. And it was actually set up, I'm pretty sure, earlier in the movie, which is surprising
But
to have
yeah.
screenwriting structure in this movie. That's it. Like, that's the only kill that I remember. Oh, you know what else I remember actually about
And
this
it
movie
wasn't a
is...
kill technically because
It's Jason.
we know.
And yeah, because he doesn't actually die.
Yeah.
But yeah. Another thing about this movie that just came back to me was there's like this gang of like a biker
Oh
gang
my
or something. And they're
God.
like, so there's more antagonists than just Jason in this one.
See, and this is, I think,
Do you remember that?
the problem, and like even going to the next one, and we'll talk about the next one because the next one introduces like this character, Tommy Jarvis, who ends up becoming a character. But for whatever reason, they just keep like throwing plot shit. Like they try to make an actual story, and yeah, you're right. There's like this gang that shows up, and there's like a rivalry between them, and it's like it makes no sense. It's like stop trying to add depth to this. Like you will never add depth to this. Why are we doing that? Like let's focus on the stuff that actually could be cool and interesting. I completely blocked that out of my mind, but you are right. Like that it happens in the movie.
Yeah. I forgot about that until 2 minutes ago. But yeah, I think for real, I actually don't remember anything else now.
Yeah.
Unless something else is gonna come back last minute. but-
All I remember too is that so this movie obviously was like it's Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. It was a big
Yeah.
deal. It was in 3D. And there is like one kill that has to do with a harpoon. I'm pretty sure. And like it's one of those things where it like comes towards the camera and it's like, oh, like if we watched this in 3D, it would have been shitty 3D.
It'll feel like you're being killed.
Yeah, it would. I wish I was being killed. Yeah, that's literally the only other thing I remember about this movie. So
Okay.
What-
I think we should just move on
Oh,
then.
What
Yeah,
is
Carol-
it with films and making the third one in 3D? Like Spy Kids 3D?
Because
Just there's a
because
3
there's
in the
3
name
in the
and
title.
they're like, we gotta. Like that
Too Fast
pressure.
and
Yeah.
Furious.
Oh my god. I have watched all the Fast and Furiouses almost now. We could talk about that one day. Okay, maybe I think I'm only up to 5 or 6, but I'm still working on it.
I have seen one of them.
They're fun. It's like Friday the 13th level fun, I think. It's a great
Sure.
time. Also fun.
Actually, I do.
drinking
That
games.
would be an interesting episode.
That would be, but I would need time. I
If
would
we
need
could
time
get
to.
Yeah, me
together
too.
over Christmas, great for drinking games.
Sure.
Sometime.
I've only seen the one that Marco saw because we saw it together in
Yeah.
theaters.
Well, we've
On a
seen
whim.
2 now.
In the theaters, jeez. At least I see them for
Oh,
free.
but you saw Furious 7 as well. I didn't
Oh,
see that
you're just
one.
talking about Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah. So I've seen Furious 7
Yeah.
and I saw Hobbs and Shaw, and
That's it?
yes, that's all I've seen because from what I saw of those movies, I would rather watch every Friday the 13th movie.
Fast and Furious 1 is
Actually-
actually a good film. I'm putting that out there, just saying.
Because that one's actually like street racing. That one's before
There's
it
a
gets
plot,
out of hand,
It
right?
makes sense. No one is doing
But I'm actually just
anything
remembering.
that is physically impossible yet.
Right.
So it's not bad. It is like your basic like 2090s film, and it's not even the worst one. Just saying.
Okay.
But
I
I'm
just
not-
remembered
I'm
I
not
have seen
recommending
7
them,
and 8.
I promise. Like,
Wait, Dan, you've seen 7?
Yeah, not in theaters, but like I actually recently before the pandemic, I got together and like with my friend Alex, and like we watched 7 and 8 for like
you
a
guys watched
like
the
shitty
wrong
movie night.
ones. Oh, shitty movie night, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we didn't watch it with the intent of like watching a good movie.
I know everyone really.
But yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I just completely blanked on that.
That's
Everyone
understandable.
Everyone pretends they love 7 because it was Paul Walker's last one, but that movie is not good. I'm sorry. It's just not. Everyone's got to stop pretending. It's a bad movie.
I do remember that one had a ridiculously high like rating.
Really?
Well, yeah, like I remember, like, well, I mean, you weren't there, but like this was grade 12, like grade 12 high school. We all go to the theater. Dan couldn't make it that night, whatever. But and it had like a fucking 80 something on Rotten Tomatoes, and we go see this movie, and one of our friends, like, tried to leave, like in the middle of the movie. Like Raymond was like, "Marco, I want to get up and leave, like right now," and I was like, "No, we said we would do this. We have to watch this movie," but like. Anyway, so as you can see, we would much rather talk about anything than Friday the 13th Part 3, because this movie
Let's,
is a non-movie. It's nothing. Let's just move on to Part 4. Carol, before we move on to Part
Okay.
4, do you have any questions about Part 3?
Okay, where does the mask come from? You said he gets the mask, but like, does he play hockey or something?
So, I am conflicted,
Okay.
because in the remake, and I want to put this out there, let's talk about this right now. They did, in 2009? Fact check me on that. They did a remake just called Friday the 13th, which is also in the box set I bought, thank God. I was like, are they not going to include the remake? Are they going to fuck me over with one movie? But it is in the box set. And this remake is, and I have seen the remake because it was on streaming, is actually, it's kind of funny because it's basically just a greatest hits album of the franchise. So it's just your typical, like, they go to a cabin in the woods thing, but you get kind of the whole history of it in that movie. So like the movie starts off where I'm pretty sure it's this movie. I could be
Jared
wrong.
Padalecki's in it.
I was gonna say Dean is in this
Yeah.
from Gilmore Girls.
Oh
like,
my god.
yeah,
And they
it's
come
weird.
from Sky
Oh.
High.
yeah.
What the heck?
Real quick on that note, because you mentioned Gilmore Girls. In the previous episode, we mentioned that the next episode was going to be Gilmore Girls. We
It'll
chose to do this one first
It'll be the one after
We'll
this.
get
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It'll
Don't worry.
happen.
Because Friday the 13th is coming up.
I'm
Anyway,
currently in season 5 of Gilmore. I'm not gonna be able to finish it before our episode, but hopefully I at least get to season 6.
I mean, you have seen it all already, so you're
Yes.
safe.
I know. But yeah, so my point being with this the reason I bring up the remake is because it does a cool job of, like, Jason in the movie starts off wearing the sack mask, but then throughout the movie, like, you see him, like, kill someone and get the hockey mask from them, and it actually does a cool job of taking a lot of elements from the original and putting it all together in one condensed thing. Like, if anyone ever asked me legitimately, like, I want to know about Friday the 13th, I would say just watch the remake. Like, it takes anything you want to know and puts it into one movie.
Fun.
But, that being said, I don't remember if we actually also in Part 3 see him get the mask or if he just has it. Because
I think he just has it. I don't remember seeing a scene. I mean,
Okay.
it could very well be there because I don't remember a lot from this movie, but
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing an actual...
Sounds like you tried to
Explicit
block
scene.
it out.
Didn't even try. It just happened.
So, yeah, that's Part 3. Okay, well, we're gonna talk about part 4. Now, Carol, I gotta explain something to you.
Okay.
Part 4 kicks off a sub-series of the Friday the 13th series,
Okay.
which is the Tommy Jarvis saga. Yeah.
Okay.
So part 4, 5, and 6 are kind of like their own trilogy.
Oh.
Yes.
Weird time.
It's
to
like
do
the
that.
sequel trilogy with
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yes.
A weird place to put that, but okay.
So, but it wasn't supposed to be. So to give everyone context here, and Carol, you, and also listeners,
Thank
what
you.
happens in part 4 was called the final chapter. And from my understanding, it legitimately was supposed to be the end of the franchise. So basically, instead of going to a campsite or something, like there's this one family's house that ends up being the central point where the plot converges. And this one family has this little kid named Tommy Jarvis, who I think is played by Corey Feldman. I'm pretty sure.
Seriously?
I think it's Corey Feldman. Anyway, so he is Tommy Jarvis. He's this little weird kid, and
Like actually a little kid. Like we're not at
Yeah.
counselor age anymore. Okay.
No,
he's like 8 maybe. And long story short, most of the movie is your typical bullshit. There are teenagers doing sex things. I don't know, and Jason kills people. It's nothing special until the end. And what happens at the end is, Jason ends up at this house. He's like fucking everyone up. Everyone's dead except Tommy and his sister. He's about to kill Tommy's sister, and then Tommy shows up and he's like shaved his head, so he's bald, and he's like, but he's also like into special effects. Like throughout the movie, he has like special effects books. So he's like shaved his head, but then done his makeup to look fucked up like Jason, and he's like trying to like relate to Jason, like, oh, like I am fucked, like you are fucked, and then like Jason is like, oh, you are fucked, like I am fucked, and he like walks over to Tommy Jarvis, and then Tommy Jarvis kills Jason. And like
Wow.
that's how this movie ends, okay?
Wow.
It sounds so stupid hearing that.
It is Corey Feldman.
That
by the way.
explanation. Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's part 4, and it was legitimately meant. The franchise was supposed to end that way.
With him actually dying.
Yes, with Tommy Jarvis trying to make
Child.
himself look like Jason to have some kind of connection with Jason, and then he kills him.
And also, going back to the first movie, so was this movie trying to suggest that, like, that's how old Jason was when, like, he was put in the bottom of the lake or whatever?
8?
I don't know if that's ever like supposed to be explicit, or if it's more just supposed to be literally like a bald, ugly person, and that's what Jason sees in him. I like, I'm not even joking. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just trying to put together the timeline here.
Yeah.
Because we were mentioning, like, the second movie takes place 5 years later, apparently.
I'm pretty sure all the rest of them take place like right after each other.
Okay, we were conflicted on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I'm sure we can look it up somewhere, like what the timeline is. But I think like 3 takes place like 2 days after 2. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like in every film they make him look more deformed. Because I'm even just looking at
Oh, yeah.
stills, and just like this poor dude.
Yeah, I mean that's half the fun. I feel like as the franchise goes on, half the fun becomes what's Jason gonna look like unmasked in this one, because they always just change it.
Which is to say, how much budget does this movie have?
So, yeah, that's kind of part 4, and I won't. Well, I mean, since we're here, let's just make this a 1 to 6 thing and talk about the Tommy Jarvis saga. Because here's the thing: the next 2 are also just nothing movies, right? So that was supposed to be the end of it, but it wasn't. And then in part 5, it's like, this part 5 is fucked.
Why? Like
Is
fucked
it-
good,
this-
fucked bad. Like
Tommy Jarvis Tommy Jarvis. He's now a little bit older. He's like a teenager
Okay.
or a young adult. I don't remember. And he goes to like a mental correction facility.
Oh.
Was that this one? I thought that was 6.
No, that's this one, because 6 is something else. We'll get to that when we get there. So he goes to like this mental correction facility that's just like a farmhouse where like quote unquote crazy people
Another
are.
farm, huh?
And there's these like old people that like take care of them or whatever, and like more Jason killings start happening. But then by the end of the movie, it's revealed that it wasn't actually Jason; it was just a copycat killer.
So
Oh.
we're meant to believe that Jason is actually dead.
Yes, and also they kind of play in this movie with the idea that maybe Tommy Jarvis, like, in like pretending to be Jason and killing Jason in part 4, like something snapped, and maybe now
Yeah.
he is the new Jason, but he's not. Like, it's stupid.
Okay.
It's just like some
Yeah.
other. It's like a fucking Scooby-Doo ending. It's like, oh, like the old man over here, like he was in the mask the whole time. Like it's dumb.
Okay. It's coming back to me now. Also, I have the timeline up, and
Okay.
apparently it is 5 years after for the second movie.
Guys, you
Okay.
didn't trust me. I watched
Second
this movie
movie's 5
yesterday,
years.
I swear.
What about between 2 and 3?
Okay, hold on. Give me a minute to
Yeah.
get that. I gotta skip through all the like reboots and shit.
Maybe it never happened.
Oh, here it is.
Oh,
Also 84. So that one is basically right after.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that was part 5. That's the middle of the Tommy Jarvis saga. And then part 6, which I think will be the last one we talk about, because after part 6 is, I think, when they completely jump the shark. Right? Like, parts
Because that
1,
didn't
2...
happen already.
No, well, parts 1, 2, and 3 are just, like, dumb slashers. Parts 4 to 6 are, like, a quote-unquote saga of, like, you're following this character of Tommy Jarvis. And then after 6 is where you get, like, your Jason Goes to Manhattan shit. Like,
Jason Takes Manhattan.
and, like, Jason... That's... And
It's not just a fun trip, Marco.
yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan.
I'm imagining... I maybe mentioned this before, but I'm imagining, like, that obligatory... Whenever, like, a character takes a trip to Manhattan...
Yeah.
I just watched Borat for the first time today, so this is what I'm picturing. It's a circular shot, like the hero shot of them in Times Square looking up at all the signs and
Yeah.
stuff.
I no joke, I'm 90% sure that's actually in the movie.
Oh my
Probably.
God. But like
Yeah.
him in his mask?
Yes.
And okay.
But
But
he
anyway-
would just blend in. Like, people would think he's, like, a costumed...
Yeah.
Like, one of those people that do it for their job, right?
Yeah, New York City's full of characters. It makes sense. I get it. Doesn't make me happy.
Yeah. So part 6 is called Jason Lives. At the beginning of the movie,
Spoiler
Tommy...
alert.
That's what it's called!
I know, but I can't believe they did that.
I know. At the beginning of the movie, Tommy goes to Jason's grave.
Yes,
Is it
I remember
empty?
this.
No, he digs it up because he wants to like burn him alive because he's
What?
like his body can't even stay intact. But then while digging it up, it gets like struck by lightning and
No,
Jason
no, no.
comes back to life.
So he takes a fence, a metal
Yeah.
fence post from the fence of the cemetery,
Stop.
stabs it into him,
Stop it.
into the corpse of Jason,
Guys.
and then like it like acts as like a lightning rod. So that's how the
No
lightning
way.
brings him back to life.
Oh,
Like
Carol,
a
that's not even the.
Frankenstein type deal.
Basically,
not even-
yeah.
Frankenstein's monster, but
Thank you. So that's the. That's the pre-credits. That's the teaser, and then the credits are they do the James Bond opening.
like
Like-
with,
Oh,
with, like,
that's
sexy
right.
music and clips.
No. Like the gun barrel. Like Jason
Oh,
walking in the
stop
gun
it.
barrel.
Stop
I
it right
swear.
now.
That's
Is that
right.
allowed?
I don't know, and it's also like, why would Jason be in the gun barrel? This doesn't make
Does
any
he ever
fucking
even
sense.
use a gun?
No.
I mean,
But he's
I
not
don't
the
think he
hero
do,
either.
But... Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
One cool thing I remember about this movie is this is the coolest design of Jason because it's like he's a corpse, so he has like worms and maggots like
Ew.
chewing
Yeah.
through his face throughout the whole movie. So visually, it's interesting.
Okay.
That's all I can say about that. Yeah,
Same.
I do remember
Um,
that.
Do you remember what happens with? Because like the rest of this movie is just Jason's alive and he's
Okay.
killing people, and Tommy is like trying to get the police to care, but they
Yeah,
don't.
so Tommy spends the majority of this movie. I think this might be the one I remember the most about.
Oh, okay, go for it.
I mean, like it's a relative term, but like
Yeah.
I think he spends the majority of the movie in jail. Remember,
Why is he in jail?
he gets framed for a murder,
Yeah.
which
I think-
Jason does,
Ah,
and he goes to jail
course,
for it,
classic.
and then in like a small town, and he like falls in love with like the sheriff's daughter, who like talks to him through the jail cell for most of it, and she tries to convince her father that he's innocent because like Jason's gonna strike again or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the basic premise of this one. I don't remember the climax of this movie though.
I don't
We've
either.
come
And
far away from camps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we're done with camps.
oh,
That's insane.
And yeah, I don't remember what happens to Tommy. That this is his last movie as well. And yeah.
Poor Tommy.
And I would also like to point out, like, the night we watched this, we were supposed to watch, I think, like, a couple more. And after we finished this, I just turned to Dan and Angela, and I was like, I can't.
Yeah,
Not
I was
tonight.
going to bring that up if you weren't. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we were like, all right, ready to pop in the next one? And Marco was like because he was drinking again. And he was just like, guys, I'm sorry. Not like, I don't mean to, like, kick you out or anything, but I can't do another one.
Yeah.
I'm done. We stop here. And so this is the last one that I've seen. I haven't seen anything else.
This is the last one I've seen, too.
I can't believe you guys watched 6 in one day.
No. It was 4
Okay.
in one day, and then a separate Friday the 13th, we got together again
Yeah.
and watched the 5 and 6.
Yes.
Even 4 in a day is a lot, you guys.
It was a lot. I'll be honest.
Well, to be honest, I've only seen 3 in one day at most, because I missed the first one, but I
True.
can't imagine for you guys.
Wow.
At
I'm
least they're
impressed.
short.
Yeah,
They are
Um,
short. That's good.
you have that.
Yeah, and, as we mentioned, this Friday the 13th would have been the start of the second half of the franchise, the more fun half of the franchise.
Yeah.
The crazy half, but unfortunately it won't be, so I'll just have to look at my box set and just smile and wait for the day we can actually win. So whenever the next Friday the 13th is, after this November one, we'll have to, hopefully by then we'll be able to actually get together and
Hopefully,
watch.
yeah. I was really looking forward to Jason X.
Me too.
Because we didn't mention yet, but that one is apparently like, that one's in space, right?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
No, they like freeze him and put him on a spaceship.
What? Oh, okay.
But it's also just like, so it's just Alien. Like, they just remade Alien. Like, it's just a monster on a spaceship
okay,
killing
wait.
people.
Jason is simply a human, yes? Like,
Yeah.
that's what we're meant to
Well, now he's an
believe?
undead human.
Now he's like a zombie.
Seems like he has some kind of power or something. Like,
Well,
there's
He has
no
the power
way.
to be struck back to life by lightning.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, even, like, he survived death multiple times before that, too, so...
Yeah.
But yeah,
he did.
theoretically, he is just a human.
So, Dan, I think when we get to Freddy vs. Jason, what we should do is pause, watch all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and then watch Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay.
It'll
haven't
be like
seen
an
any of those.
Avengers, like, coming together of franchises.
Yeah,
Will you be as excited? Probably not.
well, apparently the first Nightmare is actually a good classic horror, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed
From
to
what
be
I
pretty
hear.
good.
Isn't Johnny Depp in that movie?
Yeah.
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 I've seen
So I'm
six.
looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
about
also,
the following ones, but
I've heard that they're like ridiculous but fun ridiculous because of like the guy who plays Freddy is like fun. So
and not just a silent, like, non-charismatic
yeah,
slasher. Okay.
exactly.
Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
Carol, do you plan on watching any more of these movies ever unless we make you?
I have 4 days until they're taken off Prime. If they're not on Prime, definitely not. But maybe in the background I'll have.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll skip 3 and watch 4. Who knows?
Yeah. Whenever we get to the point where we're able to go from 7 beyond, now that I'm
Yeah.
going to have all the Blu-rays, I'll rip copies and I will send
Yeah.
you files and you can just watch them that way.
Yeah, like if we're watching it together to discuss, I would be happy to.
Yeah.
Alone in my room, just feeling like I'm going insane, probably not.
That must
Yeah.
have really sucked to, like, not be able to, like,
Oh,
confirm that what you're seeing is real.
Yeah, and that, like, knowing that these all spawned so many more films, I just did not compute.
Well, guys, we did it. We talked about the first 6, but really we only talked about 2 because the rest we didn't remember.
Yeah,
Friday the
that's
13th.
I remembered the ones I watched, so
Yeah. To be fair, there's not a lot to remember on the other ones. So.
Yeah, it's like, you're right, we didn't remember a lot, but we remembered a decent percentage of what was shown to us in the movies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to them. So, yeah, like,
'cause it made a lot of money when it came out somehow, I guess, and it
Yeah.
came out the same year as The Shining, so it had some crazy competition.
Yeah, it did.
But it made it somehow and just kept going, and here we are talking about it 40 years later.
I am single-handedly paying people's paychecks with the amount of box sets I bought.
Honestly, 28 discs.
28.
The filmmaker of the original, if he's still alive, he got a check in the mail from Marco
Yeah.
for the price of the box set.
That's why they're so hard to buy. You have to mail checks directly.
Yeah.
You're paying his
to the
pension,
original
Marco.
Dude.
Okay, well, Dan, Carol, thanks for doing this. Thanks for being here.
Anytime.
I love
Of course.
subjecting you guys to things I put on myself for no reason. I could have just said, "Hey, remember those movies I watched those 2 movies I watched as a kid? Great." But instead, I went out of my way to say I'm going to watch the whole franchise, and I appreciate you guys being along for the ride.
Yeah, you
It
did
was
this
fun.
to yourself.
Yeah, I always do this to myself. I know. Listeners, everyone, thank you for listening. If you enjoy listening, please go ahead, subscribe, or just, well, and also just, you can text us and give us feedback, because I'm sure you all have our numbers. And those who don't, there's a comment section, so you can comment. That is fun. And
Yeah.
we will reply to your comments, because we're nice like that.
Unless you're listening on Spotify, unfortunately, there's
Yes.
no feedback on there. Wish
Yeah,
there was.
if you are listening on Spotify but also don't know one of us personally, just go ahead and rate it. I think you could rate podcasts on
You
Spotify.
can't, actually.
Okay, well, go fuck yourself then, if that's what you're doing. I don't know what to say at this point. Yeah, so as we said, next week, maybe not next week, I don't know. Next episode, probably next week, is going to be on Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Which I am so excited to talk about. I know Carol's excited. This is going to be a massive, this is going to be a 6-hour fucking episode, because there's so much to unpack, not just
I
about the
know.
franchise, but also, obviously References to, Aaron Sorkin and The West Wing. There's going to be so many planes of action, to talk about here.
I'll try to rein Marco in. Maybe I can get him down to 3 hours. No promises.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Carol, I've reached a point now where when I'm watching the show with Maddie, when there's the teaser before the credits, by
Yeah.
the time the credits come, I know who wrote the episode.
Oh, I'm so proud.
I'm so good at it now. I'm like, Amy wrote this one, or Daniel wrote that one, and I'm always fucking right. And Maddie's like, how are you doing that? Anyway, we'll talk about it next week. It's gonna be so much fun. Anyone who, if there's any crossover between people listening to this and people who are gonna watch the Gilmore Girls episode, just go ahead and start thinking about whether or not you are team Dean, Jess, or Logan. I'm sure that's gonna be a very divisive.
There's only
topic.
one right answer. And
no.
Marco's gonna yell at me.
There is only one right answer, and it's that they're all shitheads. Okay, thanks for doing this, guys. Thanks for being here. Everyone, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, always appreciate the time that you generously give us for these long form podcasts. Why are you laughing?
Because they very generously are giving us time
Yeah,
to
no,
listen to
for
this
real.
shit.
For real. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you always.
And happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah. Hope you have a very unlucky Friday the 13th.
Also, guys, I just want to quickly say here, I just love how the first 2 episodes we had this very funny recurring segment where I would do the star date, and then
Oh,
we
no.
immediately never
Completely-
referenced it again
completely
for the
abandoned
rest
that.
of the podcast.
You know that's called growth.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them guessing.
Gotta keep them guessing. Maybe
Right.
one day we'll bring it back. Definitely not.
Well, I mean, when we do the Star Trek episode, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to
Nah,
bring it back
even
for
then,
that.
we don't need it. We'll make them think they'll get it, but they won't.
Yeah.
Subverting the expectations.
This
All
is
right.
the Ryan Johnson podcast. Okay. Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
Okay,
Bye,
thank
for
you
real,
very
yeah.
much.
Bye.